Hello and welcome to this trigonometry introduction for right angle triangles. In today's video, you're going to be able to label the sides of a right angle triangle correctly and understand the basic trigonometric ratios and how to remember them. Here we have two triangles which I've labelled triangle 1 and triangle 2. Both these triangles are right angled triangles, as both of them contain a right angle, which is a 90-degree angle or just a quarter turn. Let's begin by labelling the sides of triangle 1. In this triangle, we will be considering this angle here, labelled theta, and we label the sides of the triangle with respect to this angle. So firstly, we want to label something called the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is just the longest side of the triangle, which is always found opposite the right angle. So if we look at our right angle, and we look opposite the right angle, we will find our hypotenuse. Again, this is just the longest side of the triangle, and to clarify this, you can draw out a few right angle triangles, measure the sides, and you will see that the hypotenuse is always opposite that right angle. The second side we want to label is called the opposite side, and this side is opposite the angle in question, which here is denoted by theta. So if we look at theta and look at the side which is directly opposite from theta, we just label this the opposite side. Finally, we want to label the adjacent side, and adjacent literally just means next to or adjoining something else. So here, the adjacent side is just a side that is next to the angle in question. So if we look at our angle and we look at the side next to it, which isn't already labelled, then this is our adjacent side. Okay, so let's now label triangle 2. Again, the hypotenuse is just the longest side of the triangle, which is opposite the right angle, so the hypotenuse will be in the same place. The hypotenuse is in the same place in every triangle, irrespective of what angle we are talking about. Okay, so now let's label the opposite side. This is a side opposite the angle in question. Here, the angle in question is theta in the bottom right-hand side. So if we look at the side opposite this angle, we get this side over here as our opposite side. Finally, we want to label the adjacent side, and this is a side that is just next to the angle that we are considering, here being theta. The side which is next to this angle theta is just this side here. We label this the adjacent. The adjacent side cannot be this side here because this side is already the hypotenuse, the longest side on the triangle. In this next section of the video, now we have labelled the sides of a right angle triangle, I want to talk about trigonometric ratios and how to remember them. The three trigonometric ratios that I'm going to talk about are here. We have sine theta equals opposite divided by the hypotenuse. We have cos theta equals the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. And we have tan of theta equals the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. So what these ratios are saying is that if we divide the length of the opposite side by the length of the hypotenuse, we will get sine of theta. Again, if we divide the length of the adjacent side by the length of the hypotenuse side, we will get cos of theta. And if we divide the length of the opposite side by the length of the adjacent side, we'll get tan of theta. These three identities come in very helpful when we are talking about missing angles or missing sides of a right angle triangle, but I will make another video on that and link that below. The best way to remember these three trigonometric identities is by something called SOHCAHTOA. And to use SOHCAHTOA, you need to look at the letters in groups of 3, and I have colour-coded these letters here. So if we look at the first 3 letters, which I've labelled as blue, we have SOH, and unsurprisingly, S stands for sine, O stands for opposite, and H stands for hypotenuse. So you look at the first letter, and you see S, so you have sine of theta. And then that is equals to the opposite, so O here, divided by the hypotenuse, so H here. If we look at our second 3 letters, we have CAH. So this represents cos theta from here equals the adjacent for the A divided by the hypotenuse for the H. And in our last 3 letters, we have TOA. So the T means tan theta, and then this is equals to the opposite for the O, and this is divided by the adjacent side for the A. So the first letter represents the trigonometric function, and that is equals to the side that is represented by the first letter divided by the side that is represented by the second letter. If you have any questions, feel free to give me an email or drop a comment down below. Thank you for listening.